Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia mogul.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
Rob Affuso.
Yeah.
Now, you don't really ever run into a rock and roll star and get to hang out and talk to, but I thought it was fascinating. We find ourselves in Newburgh.
The stories you have hung out with plenty.
No, but I don't
rock and roll
but I'm a
people.
rock and roller. Back in most people that know me from earlier days know that I used to have hair like Rob's, right? You do remember
You're
that, right? Do you remember that? But I really did. If you go back and look at my early pictures, and I remember we did the talk.
I saw it in your book.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember we were doing the talk up in Newburgh, which I guess you're from, which
Yes.
is kind of cool, up in Newburgh College, and
Mount St. Mary's College, right?
was St. Mary's,
Mount St. Mary's, yeah.
Mount St. Mary's College, and I was thinking like, wow, man, how does this guy get to keep his hair and I don't? Doesn't seem fair.
Well, so funny story. I just getting signed with Skid Row with Doc McGee as our manager back in the day, and we all had tons of hair, and Doc's sitting behind the desk, and I go into the bathroom. I thought I was being funny, and Doc's pretty much all bald at this time, and that was 30 years ago. And I said, thinking I'm a wise ass, "Hey, Doc, you have a brush in your bathroom. What do you do with a brush?" I said, "Why do you need this?" He says, "I don't need my hair. I replaced it all with money."
I'll keep that in mind.
Yes.
But drummer for Skid Row. I mean, was that what did it feel like to be like on an international tour, being a rock and roll star? What was that feeling like?
Well, you have to take a few steps back to when I was a young boy, I told my dad I wanted to be a rock star. I was going to be a rock star or pitcher for the New York Yankees.
How young?
Probably 5.
Wow.
5.
Those are two lofty goals.
You got to start somewhere,
Okay, fair.
right? So, we did the baseball thing, did the drumming thing, and the drums started to work better than my curveball. So I actually pitched with Willie Frazier from Newburgh. Do you know Willie Frazier? Willie Frazier was I believe he's a scout with the Angels, I believe, at the moment. But
you have a fastball or a curveball or something that you...
Me?
Yeah, or just...
I just used to throw at the batter. I don't. No, I was young, man. I don't know.
Back to the drumming thing. Is that the kind of thing where you have drumsticks when you went to bed? You're just playing day and night? Or?
No. I just had this passion. I had this burning passion as a young kid, and so where I was going with this is to have that passion and to have this dream and to have these things start happening where you say, oh my God, this is going in this direction, and you have this excitement, but you can't catch your breath because you're worried that one step is you don't want anything to fall. So that part of my life was almost more magical as things started to happen than actually being there.
The process.
The journey.
Ups and downs?
Of course. But being there was great. But you also know, the journey. I love reading. I'm still involved in your book, but so the journey there, and then when you're there, it's like, okay, let's take the bull by the balls. I meant horns, but I guess
You got stuck on it's amazing how the balls carries over. Yeah, a lot of people have that habit. But how old are you now?
I'm 54.
No, I meant how
Actually,
old are you now in the
55.
story? 54. You're looking pretty good for 54.
you.
But how old are you when this is all?
So when this was happening, I actually got signed with Skid Row. I was 24.
Now you had a couple local bands you're playing in before that.
Sure,
or you're just kind
sure.
Of playing
Well, I got into
play?
Skid Row when I was at NYU. I was going to NYU, and and I had. You didn't ask me this question, but it's segueing. So I was in a lot of local bands. I was an advertising rep for a local magazine, rock magazine, East Coast Rocker,
You're selling
Aquarian.
ads.
I was an advertising rep, yeah. For and I was doing this, and then I got an audition for Bon Jovi. So I had packed up. I was at the beach. I get called from John. I had a few friends that had, because John had just come out with Little Runaway, that song, and the WAPP, the record, the radio station. He had just won the contest there. So John was starting to blow up, and he was looking for a drummer. He wasn't sure if Tico was going to be his drummer, so he asked me to, hey, can you make? I've been waiting like 2 months for this call. I get it. I'm on the beach. Hey, can you make it? North Jersey in 2.5. I think it was 1:30. Can you make it there by 4? So I had to run back off the beach, pack up my drums, put it. I had a little Toyota Celica, put the drums in, drive up, set them up, and audition. I didn't get the job.
Were you scared?
No.
Were your parents supportive? Honestly, like, when you look back.
My mother was incredibly supportive. She used to drive me everywhere. I used to play nightclubs when I was 12, and she would come with me to support me.
Wow.
So because I couldn't be there without an adult, so I would play nightclubs until 12 or 1. Wake up, go to school, come home, take a nap, do my homework. Yeah.
Wow.
And I made decent money as a kid doing that at that age.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the first job.
I didn't.
Rejected, or that's a bump in the road? Or how'd you get through that? How'd you even get through that mentally? Did you think maybe I'm just not cut for this?
No, I didn't. I just knew that I had it, and I knew this wasn't the right opportunity. So from that, the Dave Sabo, Snake, the guitar player, who started Skid Row, was very good friends with John Bon Jovi. They grew up together, and he was there. And he said, "Hey, Rob," he said, "you're great. I don't know how this is going to pan out, but hey, if this doesn't work, we should talk. I'm starting this band. No name, but this guy Rachel and I are starting this band, and would love to audition you." So it turned out it didn't work with John. I got a call from Dave, went down, auditioned, got in the band, which became Skid Row.
Moral of the story is sometimes things don't seem to be working, but it actually...
Yeah, that whole when one door shuts, another one opens, that old moniker, yeah. And so I knew, I used to do, so jumping forward, I did a lot of drum clinics and speaking when for my drum companies, DW Drums and Sabian Cymbals. And so I would do these drum clinics, and I would play and kind of teach, but I'd also talk about life and how important it is to be prepared. And I'm sure you've heard it, but it was basically the foundation of my entire lecture was basically preparedness plus opportunity equals success.
Dan, do you feel like, as a drummer, because it's really, you always get the guitar player perspective, but is there a lot of preparation in the drumming?
Oh, huge. Well, first of all, you're really, there's studies done that shows, a professional drummer or touring drummer is, as long as there's no, over drugs and alcohol involved, you're basically a top level athlete. You're playing 2.5, 3 hours straight, nonstop.
Right. You're where everybody else
right.
taking a break.
Right. So I've learned to play drums and drink at the same time. So as you can't stop.
The physicality is
the physicality.
Is a lot.
It's huge. And so, as at 20, 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, 27, it was sort of a no-brainer. We could just do it. But yeah, you have to have, you get your skin, you get calluses, blisters, which turn into calluses. You build muscles in places you never thought you'd have muscles, and more than that is your what's it called, the stamina.
The stamina, mental stamina.
Well, mental
or physical stamina.
More so physical.
So your adrenaline's got to be flowing.
Yeah, but you have to control your adrenaline, especially as a drummer. Or like a pitcher, you have to control your stamina because if you don't, you're basically driving this bus, and if you don't control your stamina, you're going to spin out of control. You're going to go too fast, things of that nature. So you learn those kinds of things and try to harness that anxiety.
You're sitting there in front of a stadium. I mean, is it is it almost kind of comparable?
So what are you looking for? You mean what's the feeling? What's the emotion? Or are you talking about harnessing?
I'm thinking about just the mental preparation to when you get. Do you get overexcited? Are you nervous? Are you?
So what
once you get used to that, do you ever get used to that?
You know what? I'm the most nervous until I get to the venue. I get anxious. I get sick to my stomach until I get to the venue, wherever it may be. I still do.
Really?
Once I'm on the stage and behind the drums, then it's comfortable. That's my happy place, and I don't really get nervous there. I always want to do great. I always want to be great. I never want to fail, and so that's the nerves. But once I get on the stage, then I'm generally in control. With Skid Row, our singer Sebastian Bach, he was such an adrenaline freak, and he liked to play everything so fast all the time. So I used to, before we would get on stage, I'd go and have my peaceful, quiet moment in my own dressing room. It was the closest to meditation I knew, but I just try to deep breathe and loosen up my muscles. Then I would jump rope because I needed to get my heart rate up. So it's, if you almost think about being like a sprinter, except I got to keep sprinting, for 2 hours. So I would do jump rope for about 20 minutes before we went on stage. That way, when I got on, I wouldn't. Before I did that, I would just peter out. I would be out of breath. I would ask my drum tech for oxygen. So I said, "There's got to be a better way." That's how we started. And so then once I figured that all out, but it's being prepared.
Yeah.
It's being prepared to, you can't start a giant concert in front of 80,000 people and, fall on your face. So yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah. People don't even think.
What I think is interesting, which always comes to mind, and you hear about with ball players, when do you walk off the stage? When do you finish and know you got the car, you got to leave the carnival. And what I find interesting, intriguing with you is, and where I think you got the balls is, obviously, you worked really hard. You played in an amazing rock and roll band, but how have you been able to reinvent yourself? How hard has that become to now start the company you have?
Right.
Because you got it in the back of your mind thinking, maybe I'm just going to chill out the rest of my life. It seems like a lot of rock and rollers do that.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Okay.
Yes, they do. But, we had a great run for 10 years. We made great money, but I was also young when it, I was, so I guess that's a gift. It's a gift on all fronts, right? I was young when it started. We had a nice 10-year run as that group, Skid Row, the main band, and it ended when I was young.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what do I do now? And
was everybody in agreement when it ended? Or?
Not really. No.
Right?
No. We had issues with the singer, with Sebastian, and the band decided that they wanted to fire the singer, and I was like, man, this is a bad idea. So my whole marketing thing, I went to NYU and I did the marketing, and I'm like, this is just not good. You don't take a piece out. It was impossible at the moment to deal with. It was really, really difficult, but. We said, 5 fingers make a fist, and taking one of those out just weakens that fist, no matter how good you fix the finger.
So bands are almost like sports teams.
I think so, absolutely. Yeah, I do. I definitely think so. And so I started just always... As I said, this whole process of getting to where I was. Oh my God, I'm a rock star. How did I get here? That whole so now I'm a musician. I'm a rock star, and here we are making music. And now we have to. We had all our life to write this first album, now we have a year to write the next album, and you start to feel these pressures. Fortunately, we did really well. It was the next album. The second album was the debuted at #1. It was the first rock album in history to debut at #1.
Now, when you hit a #1 like that,
you get a nice plaque. You want to buy it?
Yeah, of course. we could sell that, but that's not where I was going on it. But I'm always. I could listen. If we can make a few bucks, I'm not gonna. I could always take a 90-second timeout. Lord knows there was enough timeouts this weekend in those college games. I still think they're calling timeouts, and they don't realize the game's over. But I'm always curious when someone has done really well. Does it force you to sit back, go, we're good, we're bad, or is it like, man, we got to do this again?
Well, like Derek Jeter always says, failure isn't an option. We don't get in this to fail. We want to be great every time, and it's so much more intangible in music than in sports. You catch the ball's hit, you catch it, you get the runner out, you did your job. You keep doing that, you win the game. Music is a little different.
Very subjective.
It's very subjective. You can write a song you think is great. 1,000 people may think it's great, but the other 5 million, so it's not so black and white. So sometimes, on our last album, the last album we did, Subhuman Race, that was in '97 before we sort of fell apart there. I thought we had 2 really great songs on the album. I was pretty sure, I was excited. I was like, wow, this is good. But Nirvana came along. There was a change of music. The way people viewed music, the infrastructure in the record company changed. The people that were basically running our ship, steering our ship, went to another company. So we had new people. So there's all these things that, when you think you are in control, you are really not in control. You have all these other things going on around you.
And that can get you a little crazy.
Well, I think that's part of what happened with our downward spiral, and just things started to get crazy.
Good learning lessons there, though, for you when you look back on it?
Well, one of the learning lessons is, I know this is not going to go on forever. What's my next game? Where am I going from here? And frankly, when the band broke up, I was not ready for it, but I knew I saw the writing on the wall. I saw it coming. So I started thinking, okay. I started to think, what am I going to do? What kind of company? Where am I going to do with this? What am I going to do now? I didn't want. We hit a pretty high level in Skid Row. Certainly, there's a few other bands that just did like Guns N' Roses. But
still, you
but
guys
still,
were hot.
we did good.
Hot.
We did good.
Are you in a full blown out panic attack at this point? A little bit, just about your future. I mean, you're a young guy.
Yes, I was, and what do I do now? So
I'm still in a panic attack, by the way.
Are you?
I'm in a life crisis. So you're at a crisis at 30, but I'm in a life crisis. I mean, what's next? What am I going to do now? I think it's common with a lot of people. It just gets a little blown up.
Well, you got the dirt, you got the grass, you bought the stadium, you bought all the bricks. I don't know.
Can't smoke the grass, though.
I know.
Smoke the grass and have a phenomenal business without getting legalized. But you're in this.
Well,
crisis.
not yet. It's not. Well,
yeah, it's not legalized
pretty
in New York.
soon.
It'd be nice if I can go.
I can't really sell it across.
Stadium grass.
Well, anyway,
but you can't.
So what happened here? So then I just said, what am I going to do? And I said, what? Let me stick with my passion. My passion has always served me well. Stick with music. Stick with what I know, what I'm comfortable with, and feel that I can be most true to myself with. So unfortunately, I was not a strong songwriter. I had some writing credits, but I was not the guy that penned the hits. And I was certain that I wasn't going to pen any hits in the very near future. So
you realized a little bit what your strengths were.
I knew what my strengths were. I knew I'm a people person. Yeah. I like people. I like to entertain. And I said, well, there's always money in this entertainment. I had put this band Soul System together in 1992. Really? Actually, when I was on tour for the Slave to the Grind.
You have a little entrepreneurism in you.
I don't know. I don't know if I was that smart. I don't know if I'd call it. I think it was just
I
a
don't
passion.
think entrepreneurs are.
I think it was just a passion, and I know I know you have the passion of just what's going to be next. But I just had a passion for the music because we were playing heavy metal, hard rock all the time, and I started getting tired of it. I was like, I want to do something else as well as I don't want to eat steak every night of the week, every year. So I said, I want a little bit different outlet. So I decided we would do a concert, and I would come on the tour bus, and I would listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and the Temptations, and Smokey Robinson, and I love that kind of music. So I said, I'm going to put a band together just to make me happy and start playing clubs. So I did that, and it became wildly successful because it was my passion, and I loved it. And so from there, I started getting calls to do private events and weddings, but I was still in Skid Row. I said, I can't, I can't commit, to American Express next July. I don't know. So this was just a side project for fun. So fortunately, and also it was a lot of bar guys and just nut jobs. I had this phenomenal singer, and I could never. He was always missing when it's time to go on stage. And when I was like, "Where is this? I don't want to use his name." So I go out, and I find him in the back of a car smoking crack with a coke whore, and I'm going, okay,
boy.
we got to fine tune this ship. But so. So with some, tweaks and twists in here, we got it to a point, 1997, 98, Skid Row breaks up. I say, okay, my uncle was pretty big shot for Siemens.
Siemens mattresses and furniture?
No, Siemens, the German electronic, and
Okay.
he did software writing for auto industry, and he's like, well, maybe. I was like, Unc, I don't even know how to send an email.
A lot of twists and turns here.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I said, okay, let me take. So I sat around for about a year and a half waiting for Skid Row to get back together, and I said, this is not looking good.
By the way, is Skid Row ever getting back together again for maybe a reunion or something?
We almost did last year.
That'd be cool.
It fell apart. Yeah, it would be really cool. The band is still together with some. Other people, but there is a Skid Row out there. But in 1998, I decided, okay, we're going to take Soul System, we're going to make it a business. Before it was just fun,
Okay.
and it was just a band. So then I started selling it.
So you're a drummer in a band.
Mm-hmm.
You're a drummer in a band.
Mm-hmm.
You're a rock and roll star. I mean, you guys are lighting it up all over the world. And all of a sudden, you decide you're going to start a business. That's not the same as being a drummer in a band. Were you a little nervous about, this kind of challenge?
Well, it was exciting. It was exciting, kind of like the excitement that fills you when you think, we're going to get a record deal for the first time. It's an excitement. It's you chase something and you catch it.
And you want to figure it out on the fly.
You want to figure it out, and so I did. I started this band, Soul System, and I basically that was my business. Soul System was the band, and I would sell it to these events. And one of my first weddings was a girl from MTV. There was a producer there, obviously. So I had because of the music, and so that's sort of. And then it started, and it started clicking, and there was a lot I had to do that I wasn't good at. I mean, the sales part, but had to find the musicians, put the band together, pick the music, hold rehearsals, then go out, look for work, find, market the band, advertise the band.
How many bands?
I had just one.
Just one.
Now it's morphed into a company, Soul System Orchestras, and so then.
If I wanted to book a band, is that what Soul Systems does now? I mean, for a wedding, literally, or an event.
Wedding, we do a lot of huge corporate events. We played.
Cool.
We played the 2000. The 2000 NFL Commissioners Party in Atlanta.
Cool.
We played that.
That
show.
was when it snowed, and was that the snow one where they?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And he was really playing. He doesn't remember. Yeah,
I know. I was inside. Yeah. Yes, I don't remember.
That was an interesting Super Bowl, by the way.
I don't even remember who played.
So, you're now basically helping people put together music.
So
at all different
so
levels.
basically,
rock
I'm
and roll?
I'm an agent.
Wow.
I'm basically an agent.
Okay.
I own a company. I do music for high-end corporate events, and Make-A-Wish Foundation done a lot for them. Not recently, but probably about 8 years ago. I have a few other smaller bands, ensembles, all kinds of jazz, classical, all kinds of things. So that's basically what this is. And on top of it all,
you created a real business.
I
out
did,
of it, right?
I did.
plus
And
you
on top
probably
of
got
it
some
all,
good relationships, I would imagine.
great relationships.
That's cool.
And I'm also a band leader, so I get to play. Phenomenal. We go about 16 pieces, which is fun. And
So you're still playing.
Absolutely.
Now
Yeah.
you're playing all kinds of music, or
I play all
still-
kinds of music, so everything from big band swing. Sometimes we start off with the big band Ray Charles, Count Basie, big band Let the Good Times Roll. Just love that power, with the horns and
I love that.
and then
Yeah,
we
that's cool.
and then we go into Bruce. So it's everything is about fun, party, good time. And
Do you love playing music more than you love being a musician? Like, is this as much fun? Can this be as much fun as playing in front of 80,000? It's when you once you're behind those drums. Is it your second home?
It's my drum. Being behind my drums is my second home. I can't lie and say, doing a corporate event is more fun than doing a concert. At Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to, unless, of course, it's a corporate event at Madison Square Garden
if you're 25
for Mr. Dolan,
in the
maybe.
same mindset, if you're
Well-
25 and playing for some corporate event, it's almost.
Well, you know what? I'm making money, making a living, doing what I love.
Yeah.
And so
That's cool.
how do we maximize that?
Yeah,
Optimize that, right?
yeah, and you are.
Doing the best I can. I mean, there's still a lot of room to go.
Now, what's next for you? What are some of the other things you love doing? Is there some you still got you're still in your second home, but
I don't know, and I enjoy life. I love living. I love friends. I love life. So, and I've never really been a money chaser. I like to make money. I like to be comfortable. I like to have a nice car, but I don't have to have the best car. So I don't know. I'm happy. I'm got a good role. I always get worried. Like back in 08, 09 when you started buying dirt.
yeah, because you don't know when things are going to fall apart.
You don't know.
But when you look back, if somebody young out there was watching now, what's one or two of the main things you've learned from the music business? A couple of the good, some of the best things, and maybe some of the worst.
Well, I think the best and the worst is one. The people around you I'm going to talk about first in the business of music, in the record companies and the promotions people. They when you're hot, you're hot, and you think that you are holding the strings to everything and you're controlling stuff. And man, I'll tell you what, you are so not in control.
Why?
Well,
Just don't have the knowledge. You think you know what you know,
well,
but you
you're
don't
not in
know
control.
enough.
You're not in control. You're in control of your. Well, you're not even in control of your music unless you own your music. But there's no. You have to remember, the music business is in a different state right now. There's a lot of bands creating their own record companies, doing that.
You a fan of that?
I am. And it's part, so where we were was a very different time. And when Nirvana came out, there was the people that were basically, was the total upper echelon of Atlantic Records. A lot of them left for Universal, these people that were were taking care of our careers. They left. We had these new people come in that weren't really interested in Skid Row anymore because they didn't love us from the beginning. The people here, we'd walk into Atlantic Records and we were the superstars. Now you're like, can sit on the couch behind Pearl Jam and Nirvana. You guys are back there, but it just, they didn't know how to sell our music, and they didn't really have the interest in it, and it fell apart. And we probably could have gone, if we didn't implode, we probably could have put the pieces back together, and because I think we had a multi-record deal, so I think we were probably stuck with them. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know the legal part behind that. But so you think that because of your success, you think you have all this power, and you really have no power. You have nothing. And so when that was pulled from me, I said, I will never, ever, ever allow someone to control me like that. I will control my own destiny. Because I was totally on the ship.
You were just trusting.
I was totally trusting, and I didn't even count the receipts. I didn't care. We said, oh, we did this many T-shirts. We did, I didn't pay any attention. So not doing that taught me that you really should do that. Pay attention to the business, and to know that there's always got to be, you always have to plan ahead, and know that when things are going great, just be careful of that pothole. And,
I think when things are going great is the time when you should be worrying. I think when things aren't going as well is the time when you don't want to over worry.
Yeah.
You got a strategy.
Yeah.
You're confident in your ability.
And you're pushing forward.
You're pushing forward. I don't think you need to alert everybody we got to do better, we got to do more. When things are going great is when the wheels start coming off the bus, because people start getting a little cocky. They start getting a little arrogant. They start thinking maybe that they're bigger than the situation.
Yeah.
And you lose some of the humility. You lose some of the humbleness.
Yes.
And that's when things can go astray.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. I know that I did that personally. I mean, I know it. And it was hard. It was hard to accept it. And even when, some of the guys in the band said, hey, Rob, hey, let's, come on, let's go. And I was like, okay, I'm just taking this a little too easy.
Yeah. Yeah, but a dollar's a dollar. I mean, sometimes I'll look at some players once in a while, and they're making a lot of money, but for how long? I mean, when are you going to get an opportunity to make $100,000 in 3 hours?
Right.
Even if you don't need that money, you could decide whether you don't need it down the road.
Yeah. You guys were just giving me a tour of the facility here and looking at all the great stuff, and we got talking about Victor Cruz. I mean, how awful. I mean, how great. One, he wasn't he a walk-on?
He was, yeah.
Right, he was a walk-on. He has
what
this
a great story too.
Incredible couple years, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And now he didn't make the Giants. I mean, he didn't make he was released by the Giants and didn't make the Bears.
Yeah.
So,
and a great guy. And he has that injury, and then boom.
So
thank God. But here's a guy though also that was thinking ahead though. Worked on the fashion end, worked his social media, so he built a little business around that.
So he's got a little bit of a brand.
So at least he's got something going on going forward, which I give him a lot of credit for. Victor's a guy you never want to count out, though.
Yeah.
Guy got thrown out. Guy failed out of school twice, still went back out his degree. And he's one of those grinders, but that's a rarity. By the way, sports fan? Are you walking around the office? I see you kind of taking...
Huge sports fan.
Yankees, Mets, football, baseball, hockey.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it on
you
social
are,
media.
Yeah.
Well, back to college. I'm a Syracuse fan.
Now we're talking.
Syracuse
commonality.
Fan. So as I told you, earlier on, I was considering going to Syracuse. I did get accepted to Syracuse. But the main reason is I wanted to play the drums in the pep band, because I knew I was such a big basketball fan and Boeheim fan, but I knew I was never going to get on the team. So I figured my next best thing would be to be the pep band. So I went up there for a visit, and they must have just had a snowstorm, and the snow plows, these massive trucks plowing the streets, and the as you know, the snowbanks are bigger than the trucks. I'm like, this isn't for me. I don't think so.
Those snowstorms are not like an unusual occurrence either. By the way,
I know.
Pretty regular.
I said to my dad, I said, I don't know. Let's, I knew I wanted to be in the music business. I said, I'm not sure because Newhouse.
Yeah, Newhouse Communication School. Yeah.
Right. So that's where I was applying to, and I was like, I'm not sure if coming to Syracuse is, or I'm going to make, I'm going to rock and roll and shake it up the way I could in New York City. I think I belong in New York City. So
good move.
I was accepted at NYU, and went to Stern business there.
One thing, was there one night when you're like, wow, one day maybe I'm going to miss this, or one night where you're like, man, this is unbelievable. Can you believe what can you believe where I am right now? Can you believe this is happening? And tell me about that night. Give me through a little detail.
I could tell you there was we did, particularly in South America and Asia. We were huge in Japan. I'm huge. No, did you see the T-shirts? I love it.
Yeah,
anyway, I remember some of those, particularly in South America. I remember in these open-aired stadiums, and I'd be playing and just sweating, and the whole, you could feel the stadium moving because the people were just jumping, and they're so passionate about their music, and in between, actually this time we were in Italy, and I'm Italian descent, and the fan base knew it very well. So song finished, I'm soaking wet, it's just, the night is humid, it's beautiful, it's open air, and everybody's bouncing up and down, and they're going, Affuso, Affuso. And it was, I get the chills right now thinking about it. Yeah. Just, the air, the smell, the sound, the power. That was one
special.
That was special. I said, only if Grandma could feel this.
The next thing for you, charity-wise, community-wise, anything you're working on right now? What else we need to find out how people get a hold of you if you do want to book a band for your corporate event, you want to do something?
Please, yeah.
Where are you a social media guy?
Social media, Soul System Orchestras. That's Soul System Orchestras, pretty much on everything. Instagram, Facebook, SOULSystemOrchestras.com. And then all of our contact info is, you can find the company or me directly if you need me.
Now, can I work on this Skid Row reunion? Is it being worked on? Is it something that's close? Because I know everybody's going to be. I know everybody's messaging. Ben, are we getting that as a comic question?
Well,
everybody's asking. Like,
I tell people all the time, never say never. I know what's going on internally. It's a lot of strife, a lot of bad blood. And
can we work forgiveness and mercy?
I've tried. Aerosmith. Before they came back out with Pump, the management put them in rehab. They did group therapy together. It was serious, and that was the reformation of Aerosmith. I just don't know. I've tried so hard for so many years, and I really feel it's beyond me anymore.
Okay.
I always thought that I could make a difference. I thought I could mend wounds and build, tear down fences.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would love nothing more. That was my family for a third of my life, those guys. And, you fight, you love, you have an incredible relationship with these people. You hate them, you love them. It's a marriage. It's a marriage, but it's with
sharing toothbrushes. Everything.
We just didn't brush. We'd gargle with Miller Lite, I guess. I don't know. It's really, I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried. I got a call in last August. Where are we? 18, 17. It was 2016. I got a call it was about around March. I was in Cabos. I was at the beach, and I got this text from Snake, the guitar player, saying, "Hey guys, we think this was when Guns N' Roses also just announced they were going to do a reunion, and so we were all like, come on, hey, let's. What do you think? This is the time." And so we got Snake and Rachel basically they own the name of the band, and they're the main songwriters, and so they're like, hey, we're thinking let's put an effort into this. Let's clear our schedules after August. So we did that. Started to take. We'd never gotten in a room together, but we started talking to promoters around the world about festivals. Well, by December, there was just. I'd rather not go into specific details.
Yeah.
What
it wasn't
happened.
coming together,
right? And it wasn't coming together.
Frustrating.
It was very frustrating. And at that point, the guy said, Rachel and Snake said, "Look, this is just why this isn't going to work, and so let's forget it." And I was crushed, and it took a good 6 months because I had put so much of myself into it. I really wanted it to happen.
It's fun. I see like Led Zeppelin got together for like 2 concerts in London.
Yeah.
Or I saw Carol.
But that was John Bonham had died, so they did it with Jason.
But you think about like maybe everybody's thinking about a world tour. Maybe just get together for a week.
Well, that's what was my point. Is like, can't we? I was like, come on, guys, let's just get together first. There's all this nonsense of talk and bullshit and texting, and we can't put a band back together like this. We need to meet. We need to get in a room.
No. By the way, some music that you like now? What are some of the bands you like? What do you like out there, music-wise? That if you're out there listening, like, what are some of your favorites? Rather not say?
No. You know what?
Or you're stuck back with the old music? You're still stuck listening to the old music, aren't you?
Yes and no.
Yes
and no. Part of it. No, I am totally. I mean, still one of my favorite all-time bands is Pantera and AC/DC. With that said, I have such a huge range of style. Like I love like the Ray Charles, Count Basie, big band music. I try. Part of what I do every day is I listen to hit radio. I pay attention to top 40 music because we have to play that as well. I think Bruno Mars is a genius. I think he's not Michael Jackson genius, but I think he's a really amazing guy. I always say Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I think he's a genius. I don't love his music, but when I really appreciate it,
Yeah.
So those are 2 right off the bat, and but part of what I do there is I listen to new music and determine what's good to make the people that I'm playing for dance. So that's how I sort of and I don't have a whole lot of favorite top 40 artists.
I'm a little stuck in the past, and I'm trying to break out of that these days, which is hard because you have so much music, so much good, maybe some of the best music in a 15, 20-year period that we'll ever see.
I think so.
But there's some good stuff out there, and
what's yours?
I love Imagine Dragons.
Uh-huh.
I've been getting back into Prince lately.
Prince.
I love John
Prince
Cougar.
is always right up there.
I mean, John Cougar Mellencamp.
John's not new though.
No,
neither is Prince. Imagine Dragons. That's
Imagine Dragons.
There's one on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot remember it. Well, my
I'm a Spotify guy, by the way, so that enables me very innocently to try new music.
Yes, I agree. Well, you got it.
I love about that.
So my stepson Sam Hellerman, he's in a band called Ripe, and Ripe like fruit, like phenomenal. They're doing really well.
Playing in the New York area, or
they're playing at the Bowery Ballroom. I can get you tickets.
Bowery Ballroom on a regular basis, or
no, they're touring. They were on tour with G Love and Special Sauce, Blue Travelers. They're now on their own. They have their
when are they coming in?
They're going to be April 6th at Bowery Ballroom.
Wow,
yeah.
Cool.
So.
And rock and roll, or
it's rock, funk, dance. It's a really fun band. It's great. Go on Spotify, listen to their new,
All right,
their new
gotta
single
check 'em
download.
out.
Yeah.
And where are they playing? Bowery Ballroom, April 6th if you're in New York area. I left for Ripe. I like that. What's a
Ripe,
little
yeah,
plug?
Ripe.
You never
Yeah,
know.
Ripe. Well,
yeah.
Go
Why
go
not?
listen to them. Yeah.
I love it. Closing remarks. Rob, it's been really a joy talking with you. And your enthusiasm is infectious, though. Even when we were
yours
talking,
is.
you know.
Yours is. Thank you.
I love the reset, not the retire or the setback. And I think like what I love is that you've kind of picked it up, and you're a businessman and you got something going, and I like that. I mean, I think it's hard for a lot of people out there that I talk with, that had a good run. A lot of us have had a good run. If you're in your 50s, you've done something. How do you refire? How do you reset? And I love that you were able to do that and still do what you like and what you love. And there's a lot to be said about that. Closing remarks. Anything you want everybody to listen to, or anything you want?
Well, I think what you should do is buy this book. You got to have balls. But because frankly, it's it's there is. I had emailed you there. I feel a lot of you in me when I read your book.
Well, thank you.
Your sense of you just had this passion. You didn't know exactly what you were going to do, but you were going to do it, and you never stopped, and you pushed and you pushed, and you followed passion most of the time.
Desperateness on others.
Right. And I think that from a young person's perspective, reading this book will be helpful in one a mind's eye from someone like yourself that has done what you've done, but shows where you came from. Handing out the pamphlets for your mother's laundry, your beauty parlor, laundry, beauty.
You like
parlor.
that stuff? That's when I learned how to hustle.
Right. Well,
my brother was thinking that was when I learned how to dance. I couldn't dance when I was a kid. So that's the hustle was the disco dance there.
And also that the in business, the what else can you do? And I think that was brilliant. And it is true because there's a lot of great business people out there. What's going to make you different from that person? It's the what else. It's the intangible. So finding that, and not being just believing you're going to be the next Bill Gates or the next. Hopefully Elon, but there's a lot of
what people miss is the creating of the value. It's like just focus on your value. What is your value? Which is what you can do for someone that they can't do for themselves. And if you keep asking that question and answering it, which a lot of people underestimate their value.
Yeah.
And knowing your value and worth and what you can really do. Some people are really exceptional at some things, and they underestimate themselves on what they can actually do.
And being a good person.
Yeah. Well,
pleasure.
You enjoy the time.
We
spent the afternoon here. It's been fun.